My name is Carlos Hernandez, retired sergeant, and I am originally from Schulenburg, Texas. I grew up in Mexico when I was little, and I moved to Texas when I was 9 with my mother and my 2 older brothers. So ever since then, I fell in love with the American life, the American people, and I just really enjoyed everything about being an American. It was amazing. I've had an amazing experience. And I always thought that, I had to do something to give back for everything that had been given to me. So as a child, growing up, going to school, and it's just the people, the American citizens, just so grateful, and I felt like I had to do something to give back to the country that has done so much for myself and for my family. I was deployed in Afghanistan, and I was a Chinook helicopter crew member. And we got hit with a RPG, a rocket propelled grenade, while we were doing a nighttime mission in the valleys in Afghanistan. So the RPG hit about 3 feet from the fuel tank and hit right below where I was standing on the left side of the aircraft, causing a lot of internal damage to the aircraft, but most of it was outside. A lot of shrapnel came through with the explosion, and that's basically what caused the amputation to my leg below the knee. The thing that I've struggled the most is with basically acceptance, and being able to go out in public and people having to stare you up and down, and not coming up to you and ask you, oh, what happened, or how are you doing? They just kind of stare at you a lot. I enjoy being around little kids because they're curious and they always come up to you and they talk to you. Unlike grown-ups, they just stare at you and they kind of don't pretend they're not looking at you, but you can tell when somebody's staring at you. A lot of other issues I've had, it's with, I guess, being separated from all my friends that I deployed with and worked for, for a while. It's just anxiety, and being back in the civilian world, it's very different than being in the military. I enlisted right after high school, so that's all I knew after high school, and that's all I've known since then. And it's just very different. It's a very different lifestyle. You get used to being around everybody, the guys you serve with, left and right, you're always together, you get used to everybody, and once you get injured, you leave the battleground, you're kind of almost on your own again until you have all these organizations would come out and just kind of pick you up the bed and put you back out there, and great. They do a great job. I've been riding with Right to Recovery. I started riding with them April 2010 was my very first ride, and that was 6 months after my injury. I did the first ride in Texas Challenge 2010, and that's the first time I've ever ridden a bike since I was like 5. So it was very tough. It was challenging and different, but I've never ridden a bike with before I got hurt, so it was brand new to me, so I was able to adapt very quickly. There were some issues with my prosthetic, being that I was still very sensitive and I was hurting a lot, and I had bruises and bumps here and there. But what I really enjoyed about the ride was that there were other guys there who had been injured several years before me, and they would always give you advice on, hey, you gotta do this, treat it this way, this works, and this is what you have to do to make it work and make it better. And it's like a peer-to-peer mentoring. It's like peer-to-peer therapy. We all help each other go over objects just like you do on the road. I think it's very important to have organizations that help out injured veterans out there, just because it shows that because we leave home, we go and support our country, and we go out in these other countries and do things that a lot of citizens or civilians don't hear about. And then we come back home, and it wouldn't be very, I guess, comforting to come home and just to kind of be like, okay, well, here's your, you got injured, here's your retirement check, and move on. And it's very heartwarming that you have these organizations that come out and take their time and just help you out from the bottom of their hearts, and with the support of the American people, with their donations and everything. They just kind of like make everything better. They make you go out into the public, with injuries. You don't feel like you're being stared at because there are several others along with you with the same injuries. So you feel like everybody's the same. and I just really enjoy it. I think it's very important that they're around. If I wouldn't have been introduced to any of them, I would have never had the opportunity to do the things that I'm doing or to find my full potential after being injured. I would probably still be moping around in my house, not wanting to go out or do anything outdoors, or just be like feeling sorry for myself. And I wouldn't have that support of my peers and my brothers from the military that come along the rides, and they support each other and talk about everything we've been through and how to make things better. I would not change anything. I would not trade anything for the world. I made my decisions to enlist in the military when I was 17, before I even graduated high school. I had 6 months left and I signed, and I was going to ship out right after graduation. And we're 17 years old, we don't really have a clear head. So I made that decision and I still stand by it every day. I don't regret anything that I've done in the past 6, 7 years of my life. I enjoy every second of it. Like I said, I wanted to do something for this country that has given myself and my family the opportunity to be here and to become American citizens after being just residents for a while. And that's my payback. That's my way of saying thank you, and I wouldn't trade it. Probably the thing that I'm looking most forward to is getting beat on the bike by former President Bush. I know he's a very good rider, and I know he's a strong rider. He doesn't mess around. So that's probably what I'm looking forward to. Actually, him being in front the whole time, setting the pace, and leaving us behind. So, and also having to sit with him at dinner and talk, conversate just like normal people.